The first thing I think we can know for sure is that Jesus would vote. Yeah, I actually think he would. He would vote. You know what's interesting? When Jesus was on earth, Jesus never seemed to favor a certain form of human government. That's a shock to some. Jesus never made any statements or indication that this form of government is better than that form of government, or here's a hierarchy, the best government looks like this and then like that. Jesus never made that. But here's what Jesus did seem to indicate. No matter what form of government you are living under, you ought to be a good citizen of that government. In Jesus' day, in the area where he lived, they were actually under the rule of Rome, where the Caesars ruled with absolute power. And Jesus looked at citizens of that country and he would say things like this. The Pharisees asked, is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not? Jesus said, here, show me a coin used for the tax. And when he handed him a Roman coin, he asked, whose picture and title are stamped on it? Caesar's, they replied. Well then, Jesus said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give to God what belongs to God. The point he's making is there is a proper form of submission to government even in this reign, and a good person, a follower of mine, will render under Caesar what is Caesar's. Jesus said on another occasion, or he said it through one of his apostles, he said, honor all people, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king, respect your ruler. Jesus said on another occasion, everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, he who rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. Pay your taxes. Obey the law. Respect the leaders. These are the principles Jesus taught. That's what it meant to be a good citizen. What does it mean to be a good citizen under our form of government? Would it not be roughly the same thing? Shouldn't it be respect anyone in a position of leadership? Shouldn't it be obey the laws? Shouldn't it be even pay your taxes? And isn't it true that in our form of government, because what the leaders tell us, because of the way our country is structured, that being an informed voter is part of our governmental system, part of our policy, our politics, part of the way we are governed? I am convinced that with the principles that Jesus taught, that in this culture it worked this way. That because we should be responsible citizens in our culture, that means voting. And I believe that Jesus would go to the ballot box on Tuesday and he would cast an informed vote in line with his conscience for the best candidate as near as he could figure it out. Yeah, being omniscient is always helpful. But we try to follow him as nearly as we can. And I believe Jesus would vote. You know what else I think we can know for sure? I think that Jesus would not pin his hopes on the outcome of this election. I believe that when Jesus would walk into that polling place, into that voting booth, and he was going to cast his vote for whomever, I don't think Jesus would think that the fate of the nation is hanging in the balance. I do not believe that Jesus would think that the future of morality and of family and of freedom was hanging in the balance. I don't think that for 1 minute. Because I think that when Jesus would walk into that voting booth and cast that ballot, he would think he was voting for a president, not a Messiah. That he was voting for a political leader, not for the hope of the world. Because Jesus, for some absurd reason, believed he was the Messiah. And he was the hope of the world. For some weird reason, Jesus believed that any culture, any people, any country, any nation, their hope, their life, their future, their morality, their freedom hinged on him. And not on some political leader. Honestly, I look around and I see the degree of passion and energy and in turn, the frustration and desperation on so many people around this election. And it's like, dude, people are thinking they're voting for a Messiah. If we don't get our guy in, all is lost. Dude, seriously? Seriously? See, I don't think in our rational moments any of us actually think that. I think if we actually believe in God as revealed by Jesus, that we would go, whoa, no. He's the hope of the world, which means every nation, which means America, which means now. Yeah? I think so. Look, here's the reality. Jesus wants every nation on earth to live under, abide by, live out the laws of God. Now some people are going, oh, no, not the restrictive, antiquated, outdated, repressing, joy-crushing laws of God. No! Did you know what the moral laws of God are? Prepare yourself for joy-sucking restrictions. You ready? Here it is. Love people with all your heart. Seek justice. Show mercy. Have compassion. Be fair. Be forgiving. Sacrifice yourself in service for others. Oh, how restrictive and horrible! Now, don't we all go, oh, no, that's what I actually want. I mean, it doesn't matter whether we're Republican, Democrat, Independent. It doesn't matter whether we are democratic or communistic. It doesn't matter whether we believe in God or not. Something about that set of things in our hearts that goes, oh, that's what we want. That's, yeah, that's it. That's what it means to live under the moral laws of God. Jesus wants every country, every nation to live out the laws of God. But you know what the question really becomes? Is how do we get a nation to live under and by the laws of God? How do we do that? And one answer that keeps surfacing throughout the history of human history, the church history, is through political action. That's how. Through political action. So you know what? If we can just simply get the right candidates with the right platform, and we can get them elected so that they can pass these laws, so they can appoint these judges. If we could do all of that, then we could finally have a nation that lives out the laws of God, and it would be so great. And so we campaign, and we spend money, and we pray, and we petition, and we expose the horrors of the other people that are running. We do all of those things because if we can just have the right political activity and political might and political force, we can finally have a country that's living out the laws of God. Can I just point out a couple of things here? Okay, nobody said no, so I go. Jesus never modeled that. Jesus had all sorts of opportunities to become politically active. And by that I mean to try to lead a political revolt or political upheaval or to challenge one ruler or to say I wanted another ruler, because in his day it was extremely political. There was a lot of political movement's going on just like in our day. He had all sorts of opportunity, and yet Jesus never took it. He never tried to transform his culture through political activism. He never seemed to believe that somehow through politics we can usher in the laws of God, and we'll all live by them. In fact, you know what I did? I said, okay, I got to be fair. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to create a list of everything Jesus did that was a political maneuver, a political act, in order to try to change the culture to usher in the laws of God. And so I went back and I did my study, and there's the list I came up with. Now, I don't know about you, but to me this means something. When I was in high school, I really started getting into golf because my life was devoid of sufficient levels of frustration, and I needed something to bring more of it on my life. And that golf was a great way to do it. And so, like I do to have it in my life, when I'm going to take up something I'm interested in, it's like throw everything in it, you know, and give it all you've got. And one of the things I did is I bought a book by the greatest golfer ever to live, Jack Nicklaus. This was before Tiger Woods, although those would argue that even today he still does. Still has the most majors of anybody. He's the one Tiger's chasing. And I bought a book by Jack Nicklaus, and it was called Golf My Way. Because I figured this. If anybody knew golf, it was Jack.